In today's schools, mathematics is everywhere. It fills every grade level, from basic arithmetic in early years to calculus in the final years of high school, and it remains one of the most emphasized subjects in formal education. Students spend thousands of hours solving equations, memorizing formulas, and preparing for standardized tests. Yet, for all this effort, many emerge from school with little true understanding of mathematics, and even less affection for it. The modern mathematics curriculum is designed primarily for utility, to prepare students for careers in science, engineering, business, or data analysis. Its goal is clear and consistent: application. While such goals are reasonable and often necessary, something important has been lost in this single-minded approach. Mathematics, in the modern classroom, has become detached from its higher purpose. It no longer trains the soul for wisdom, awakens the intellect to truth, or directs the will toward what is good. It has become a skill set rather than a discipline of the mind. In the classical tradition of education, the study of mathematics was never merely about utility. It was never pursued simply to prepare men for the workforce or to provide tools for the physical sciences. Rather, mathematics was one of the four liberal arts of the Quadrivium: arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy sciences of number that formed the foundation for higher studies in philosophy and theology. These arts were not shallow or decorative. They trained the mind to recognize order, to follow argument, to appreciate proportion, and to contemplate the rational structure of God's creation. Far from being a relic of the past, classical mathematics provides what modern mathematics lacks: a sense of purpose, a connection to eternal truths, and a means of cultivating both the intellect and the will. It is important, however, not to fall into the error of opposition. The problem is not modern mathematics itself. Students today must and should meet the expectations of modern academic standards. They must master algebra, geometry, trigonometry, and calculus, not as ends in themselves, but as tools necessary for their place in the world. A student who wishes to pursue medicine, engineering, architecture, or even economics must be proficient in modern mathematics. These studies are required, but they must be satisfied efficiently. They must be completed with diligence and without waste. For the Catholic student and for any student who seeks wisdom, they are not enough. What is required is something deeper. What must be added is the study of classical mathematics. The classical quadrivium provides that essential addition. It begins with arithmetic, not as a review of operations or number tricks, but as the philosophical study of number itself. Students begin with Nicomachus of Gerassa's Introduction to Arithmetic, a profound and accessible work that explores the properties and meanings of numbers. In the Classical Liberal Arts Academy, this study takes the form of the QRV 311 Classical Arithmetic course. Here, students are introduced to the first art of the quadrivium through a lens that combines mathematics with metaphysics. They do not simply compute, they contemplate. They learn how the ancients viewed numbers not as man-made inventions, but as eternal principles, reflections of divine order, and means by which the intellect begins to ascend toward wisdom. From arithmetic, students proceed to geometry, the study of number and space. In the Academy's QRV 321 Classical Geometry I course, students read Euclid's Elements, not a simplified version, but the original structure, beginning with definitions, postulates, and common notions, then proceeding through propositions demonstrated with clarity and rigor. Geometry in this course is not a matter of solving problems for test scores. It is the practice of logic, the cultivation of precision, the careful alignment of mind with reality. As students work through Euclid's proofs, they develop the habits of exact thinking and learn to see structure and form in the world around them. This course does not compete with modern geometry, it transcends it. Following geometry is music, the study of number and time. The QRV 411 Classical Music course introduces students to Boethius's On Music, one of the most important texts of the Christian tradition on the nature of sound, harmony, and the soul. This course does not teach performance. It does not require the student to play an instrument or read notation. Instead, it explores the theoretical and philosophical foundations of music as an expression of cosmic order. Students learn the mathematical relationships between tones and intervals and how those relationships reflect a deeper harmony that governs both the heavens and the human heart. Music in the classical tradition was never for entertainment. It was a moral and intellectual science. It formed the soul for peace, order, and virtue. This is what modern students are missing. The final course in the Quadrivium is Astronomy, the study of number in time and space, focused on the motions of the stars and planets. In the QRV 421 Classical Astronomy course, students study the writings of Ptolemy and Aristotle, examining the geocentric models of the ancient world not as outdated curiosities, but as intellectual achievements of the highest order. They learn how ancient astronomers used mathematics to chart the heavens and how their theories rested upon philosophical principles about nature, motion, and causality. This study does not seek to replace modern astronomy, but to ground it. Without an understanding of how the ancients perceived the cosmos, students cannot fully grasp the intellectual history of science or the harmony of the world they inhabit. Together, these 4 courses form a path that leads from number to wisdom. The study of classical mathematics is not a substitute for modern requirements. It is their complement and completion. Students must not be forced to choose between them. They must master what the world demands, and they must rise above it to what their souls truly need. The Academy provides both the structure and support to make this possible. The courses are rigorous but paced with care. They are intellectually demanding but spiritually rewarding. They are not designed for the student who wants to check boxes. They are designed for the student who wants to grow in truth and goodness. In an age that has confused information with understanding, the study of classical mathematics restores depth. In a culture that measures success in scores and salaries, it restores wisdom. In a system that often alienates students from the very subjects they study, it restores wonder. And most importantly, it does all of this while remaining faithful to the teaching of the Church, the philosophy of Aristotle, and the Christian tradition that once made Europe the light of the world. Mathematics, rightly studied, leads the intellect toward what is true and the will toward what is good. That is the purpose of education, not the accumulation of credentials, but the formation of the soul. Families who are seeking such formation can find it in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy. The Quadrivium courses are not luxuries. They are necessities. They are not nostalgic revivals of an old way of learning. They are the rightful inheritance of every student who wishes to know not only how the world works, but why it works and what it means. They offer a path away from confusion and toward clarity. They offer order in place of chaos. They offer peace in a world that is constantly in motion. For those ready to take this step to fulfill their academic responsibilities while also pursuing something greater, the Quadrivium awaits. It is not an easy path, but it is the right one. And for those who walk it with perseverance and faith, it leads not just to knowledge, but to wisdom.